This is your June 2022 soul story. This is Romy. Thanks for tuning into the channel. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, then this is a reading for you. We're going to give you some astrological dates and intuitive messages to empower you as you move through the next few weeks. So we are into a Gemini season, and this is around your 6th house, and we're opening up with the energy of the 7 of Pentacles. The relationship that you have with yourself, Capricorn, is always going to dictate the relationships that you have with others. And what this is showing me is that you're prepared, motivated, and ready to really invest in yourself and the things that are important and what matters to you this month. Now, it feels that there may have to be a reordering or a shuffling around of priorities in order to create some space and some time to start to bring things in that are important to you. Now, I know that you're dreaming of the flowers and the bloom, but sometimes we've got to really take some time to plant the seeds. And that 7 of Pentacles suggests that there's a waiting period right now. And I know there might be a little bit of frustration that's coming through, especially in that early part of June, as we're still feeling some of the restriction of Mercury retrograde. It does go direct on the 3rd, but we'll still be in shadow. We'll also feel Saturn shifting retrograde on the 4th in Aquarius. But these restrictions are really going to bring some revolutionary ideas and shifts in energy for you. And what we need to understand is that you can't expect to arrive at the finish line when the journey that you're on, especially for some of the things that you're just embarking on, that you're just setting out to achieve for yourself, are, so important by way of what you're going to learn along the way. So don't do yourself a disservice by trying to take the spiritual shortcut. There's something about that slow and steady progress here, and the harvest time is going to come for that. And when it does, because you know that you've invested in yourself and you've put the work in, you're going to be filled with such a tremendous sense of pride as a result of that. Now, the 7 is always for me about opportunities for shifts and changes in and around work as well. And so for some of you with a firm emphasis around your career, of course, the 6th house is about being of service and how we want to show up in the world. But it's also how we take care of ourselves behind the scenes. It's those day-to-day rituals and practices that help to keep us in balance. And this month, it's very much about how we balance out our hearts and our minds. Now, the thing that I think might be a little bit challenging for you in Gemini season is that there is just going to be constant course corrects taking place. There's going to be abrupt changes of mind on your part, but also from other people that you are engaged in and participating in different situations. And so as those winds of change keep coming through, your mindset is going to have to kind of keep up, and that can cause a little bit of frustration, just because sometimes you need a little bit more time to be able to process, and what you might have is kind of a little bit of overwhelm or feeling like your energy is becoming a bit scattered. The thing that we need to remind you of, though, is, even for yourself, what was true yesterday may not be true today. And so that course correct is so incredibly important, and it will help you to be a little bit more flexible and adaptable as some of the things that are set to come into your life through the course of this month and beyond are really helping you to sort of see where new horizons are opening up. Prince of Wands, Page of Wands brings in a fiery, passionate, motivated energy here. And you do feel really inspired, actually. I think you're in a place where you can actually really make things happen. And I think that's going to be important to sort of galvanize your energy, but also motivate people around you. So there is a little bit of an extra shine that you have, because there's something about the way that you are bringing in your work ethic, or just that sort of ethic you have to kind of let's get it done. There's something about just like let's power through and get it done. So there might be a lot of people around you that just want to kick back and take some time, and you're going to be driven and motivated in a slightly different way perhaps to some of the people around you. So this is a month that I also feel you're going to be able to find the words or the creative expression about how you feel. And that's important because you may have been struggling to articulate what's going on for you, and that might have caused some challenges or upheaval in some of the closer relationships that you have in your life. And so especially with that kind of retrograde energy, having to revisit things from the past but still feeling sort of confused and that lost in translation energy. But the healing that took place, remember, was a really intimate conversation that you needed to have with yourself, Capricorn. And it's hard, isn't it? Because in those moments, what we have to do is gather up all of the lost pieces of ourselves and at the same time get to know the newest version of who we've become. And so it's a really sort of delicate dance and a fine balance. And it's not often something that you're ready to share straight away until you feel like you're on firmer ground. Now, your Seven of Wands comes in, and I love this because it gives us a sense of being able to overcome adversity. Now, as we said, we've got Saturn shifting retrograde on the 4th. We also have Neptune going retrograde on the 28th. So there's a requirement this month for you, Capricorn, to be revisiting commitments, renewing some of the boundaries that you have in place, readdressing the long-term visions that you have. But remember, in Gemini energy, we're also looking about the tactical short-term choices that we're going to have to take that may involve a little bit of sacrifice or compromise in order to kind of really invest in that longer-term vision. But Neptune also comes along and completely strips away the illusions of things and gives us a bit of a cold, hard reality check. Now, the thing here is, he's got his hand placed over his heart and kind of reaching up to really kind of harness the power of the divine. Got this gorgeous sun behind him and that courage of the lion really roaring. So it's time to be heard. It's time to kind of speak your truth. But remember, not from a place of defensiveness. Like, don't move into that energy where you feel like you have to justify your actions. That's not going to be helpful. And what I want to say is trust the timing of the people who are actually leaving your life right now, because they're signaling a time where actually new energies are coming in. So if you find yourself by way of the actions or behaviors of others, because it's definitely a month where everyone's going to be feeling extra triggered, if you're starting to sort of feel defensive or move into that energy that just sort of has you just with your back up a little bit because of other people's actions and behaviors, try as much as you can to kind of clear that out and come back into your own centeredness, because where we need you to be investing, what we want you to be focused upon is really first of all, the give and take with yourself. What is it going to mean for you to try and balance out your energy right now? Remember, in the collective, the whole narrative around let's amplify the fear again is coming back in on this merry-go-round, and your nervous system, especially in the 6th house, because there's a strong emphasis around your physicality and your well-being. The focus this month is about trying to find new approaches and resolving to work on that deeper understanding of your mind, body, soul connection and what it's going to take to sort of live in vibrant health for yourself. And so, becoming aware of where you need to unplug from that collective consciousns of fear is so important through the month of June, especially when in Gemini energy, people can start communicating, half-truths, untruths, and it just goes viral and it gets very sort of escalated very, very quickly. Now, you've got the energy of strength coming through and the lion showing up, 3 times already in this reading. So here is a little bit of a spirit animal for you, I think, this month, Capricorn, bringing in this sense of majesty, the sense of courage and leadership. I think there's something important about the way in which you need to step up, and especially for some of you with a focus around your work. How do you actually want to be seen? How do you want to be perceived? What is it that you have to say? And what is it that's driving and fueling and motivating you? And remember, the way that you're treating yourself is going to directly mirror the types of people that are going to be showing up. And if you can do just a little bit better with yourself than you did yesterday, even a fraction, then that's enough. That's enough to give a consistent shift in energy and a change in the trajectory of what's starting to come in. Now, strength showing up does indicate that there's a requirement for us to dig a little bit deeper, and perhaps that's in the waiting period for something to come together, for something to be fully manifested and show itself in a real, tangible way that you can place your trust in. But, as has been the case really for the entirety of this year, we have to kind of find ways to find a deeper sense of trust and foster that within ourselves so that we start to believe it before we see it. And I think that's going to be important through this month. And in a way, the distraction therapy that you need while you may be waiting for something to come in for you is absolutely around how can I better take care of myself in the interim, because the more focus around finding that sense of harmony and equilibrium, the better you're going to be able to receive this when it does come in, and not reject it because you're in a state of fear, or actually that you miss it because you're so kind of frustrated in your energy or looking for it in the wrong places. So on the 10th and the 11th, we've got some welcome aspects in earth energy that will be really good for you, Capricorn. On the 10th, Mercury is going to trine with Pluto. Of course, Pluto's in your sign right now, retrograde. And then on the 11th, we have Venus conjunct Uranus. So there's some surprises that are going to materialize around that time. Important conversations that might be taking place in relationship to making bigger changes in your life, perhaps in regards to abundance and money, or in love and relationships. Now you have the Princess of Pentacles coming in here. I really love this for you because I feel like this is a gift. It's a bit of an auspicious gift, I feel, coming through. And you really are supported here. I think that there's a gathering of energy. There's a strong emphasis sort of around groups and people coming together. And remember, when we shift into Cancer season, it's the 7th house of your relationships, which is always a fantastic time of the year to be able to harness your network and actually see real improvements by way of getting introduced to new people, finding the types of support that you need, coming into contact with new energies. So there might be a lot of flux taking place through the course of June with people coming and going. So it might feel again quite busy. The social calendar might really start to amp up as well for you, and you might feel a little bit like, oh, I don't know if I'm really up for like another networking or another social gathering. But actually I think there's something really valuable in you being able to stumble across or kind of serendipitously meet somebody that can be really significant and sort of fated in terms of what they're meant to either impart to you by way of information, or just actually somebody that you're going to end up connecting to in a more meaningful way moving forward. Okay. We have a full moon in the sign of Sagittarius coming in mid-month on the 14th, okay? And that fire energy, again, is sort of adding to the fact that Jupiter and Mars are both in Aries right now. And there is this sense of intensities. There's this sense of desires being activated. We've got the Two of Cups coming in here, and a firm focus on your part to want to come together. I think around that full moon, you'll have quite a clear idea on an emotional level of where you stand in relation to a particular person. Yes, it might be romantic for some of you, but for others it might just be, just somebody of importance that you've maybe gone through a little bit of a journey with, or even somebody new that's coming in. But I think your feelings at that moment are going to be quite clear. Your ability to be able to be quite honest and truthful with yourself is what's going to matter. Now, will you actually announce or deliver that message during the full moon? I'm not sure. I still have this kind of almost like slight reserved, like quiet processing on Capricorn's part as you sort of come to terms with kind of what that might mean for you and how it might change things for you. And I think that there is a requirement, rightly so, for you to sort of think that through a little bit. All well and good to announce that, yes, I'm prepared to get involved in this situation or create space for you in my life or take you on, from a work perspective, or, however it's showing up with this individual. But inevitably that does mean that, things are going to have to shift around in your life. And again, what we're looking at are these day-to-day routines and rituals. And if you have made some earlier promises to yourself, you know, we don't want to be sabotaging some of the progress that you've been making in your own work. So if you have the space and the time and you're able to invest, I think that Seven of Pentacles is giving you a firm focus this month to say, like, can I expend this energy? Do I have enough to give? And that's not only about being fair to yourself, Capricorn, it's also about being fair to other people. Because what's not okay is to sort of then be like, yes, you know, I may feel the same, or yes, this opportunity is here, or yes, I can step up and take this on, and then actually just know, even as soon as you're doing it, that that's a little bit disingenuous because you're already maxed out, or from a healing and emotional perspective, you know you're just not available right now. So it might be the tougher call to have to say, like, yes, but not yet, or yes, but it's going to have to be in a very sort of drip fed or slow kind of, you know, progress with things. And you might meet a little bit of resistance or pressure because Gemini season can have everybody wanting instant gratification and things to move at lightning speed. And depending on the individual you're connecting to or the environment that you're in and what's going on, again, that could feel like a source of a little bit of upheaval to your balance. So keep that in mind, okay? Again, that's where that defensiveness is coming in, because then already it feels like something that should be positive can quickly sort of end up like escalating and coming into this feeling of you getting stressed out and feeling like your energy's being split, and that's not what it's supposed to be feeling like. This is supposed to be something good that's coming in for you, okay? So we're going to be welcoming on the 21st solstice this month. Beautiful time to align with the natural rhythms of the earth cycles, depending on whether you are in the northern or southern hemisphere. And the same day Sun moves into Cancer, we also have Venus trining Pluto. So again, important people showing up. And I've got two white butterflies that have just literally flown past the window. So nice sign from Spirit there. And here we have the Queen of Wands. And I feel like she is representing an energy to come in. And it's not just about a person. I also feel it's like what you're going to embody around that solstice, because there's something you're letting go of. But there's also this renewed recognition of this kind of give and take with yourself. And I think that's so important. And as you balance that out, the space for being able to create and have a sense of generosity with that, you know, so where perhaps you have had to keep things quiet or be behind the scenes, I think you're going to emerge from that solstice energy with much more of a sense of readiness to be able to kind of bring other people on board, share what you're doing, talk about what you're doing, look for more energy, more people, more resources to be able to amplify it and kind of take it to the next level. And so from a manifesting perspective, this is like really auspicious. I also feel from a fire energy, you've got a lot of kind of what I would say is quite strong like Leo energy coming through in this reading, which might be quite relevant for some of you by way of an individual, but it also just might be connected to some of the aspects that we can take from that sign, which is about that sense of heart, of courage, and of creativity, you know. And it's like, what are you going to do with that? I think the hardest thing for you this month would be to not have an outlet for that creative spark or that inspiration that's flowing. And so where people are showing up or ideas are coming in, you've got to give yourself time to be able to explore where is this going to take me, because suppressing it almost feels like it's the thing that will deplete and make you feel kind of really checked out and a bit zombie-like, and you'll be like, why am I feeling so sort of vacant and disconnected? Well, it's because all of this like churned up energy is just like spinning wheels, and it needs to be harnessed, it needs to be directed, it needs to bring form and be brought to life and birthed. And there's something kind of really fertile around the energy that you're working with this month, and so that's going to be really important. You need to see the progress with things, and if that's not going to be available to you, then you have to think about what that cost is to you, because again, with Jupiter and Mars and Aries, there's a bit of an urgency, and when we don't allow that kind of pioneering energy to power us forward, we can get really frustrated. So the frustration levels might be high. Remember, Gemini energy is like mutable and it's spinning upwards. So you're spinning up and out. Then you move into Cancer season with all those emotions in your 7th house, which is often the parts of ourselves that we disown. So you got a little bit of shadow stuff coming up there. So, you know, this is why it's so important to just be kind of honest and consistent with yourself. What is it going to take? How do I allow myself to move with some of these course corrects and changes? How can I be a little bit better each and every day? And how can I direct this creativity? The thing that's important, and I really want you to hear this month, is that you have to understand yourself, Capricorn, so intimately, so deeply, so that other people's misunderstandings of you don't become your reality. Because there's so much triggering that's taking place at the moment, but it's really easy for people to just send you those projections, and then all of a sudden, like, you're taking that on and starting to doubt yourself. And so again, there's this like constant clearing required of your energy field daily, on a daily basis. Now you've got the 6 of Cups here, again, this source of inspiration, childlike wonder, and kind of return to a sense of like, where's the joy in my life? And again, these questions are difficult as we look at the backdrop of what's playing out, but I remind you, you've got to unplug. Because if you take that heaviness on and you sit in that energy, you're never going to be able to find the creative solutions that are here to help drive you forward or bring the right people into your world so that you can harness and command your energy, step into your greatness, and then be part of the solution. But the 6 of Cups, remember, is also about looking back. And we do it with nostalgia, but then you've got a little bit of a rub with that because Neptune retrograde comes along and says it's not what you thought it was. So there's also a bit of a wake-up call that comes in. And I think that's like almost the universe cruel to be kind. It's like, oh, you thought this was what this person was, or you thought what this experience was about. Well, here's a little bit of a reality check, and it's not meant to be hurtful or punishing, even though it may come across a little bit kind of sore, but at the same time it sort of sets you free, and it gives you a true reflection on the experience, which is not wasted in any way, but it, I think, allows you to let go of the memories that perhaps have been holding you back because you've held them like on a pedestal. You know, those memories in your mind have been so perfect. It's like, well, that was a time, or the person that I was then, or the person who I was with then, or the job I had then. And you know, you're not taking into account how much you've evolved and changed. So even if you went back into that situation now, if it's what you're craving or harnessing or trying to kind of like get back to, it just wouldn't feel right. It wouldn't feel right. And you would see it in such a different way. So I think there's maybe an opportunity for the universe to kind of show you that in some regard, which, as uncomfortable as it might be, feels very liberating for you. And again, it's just creating space for like new visions to emerge, and still for you to hold on to the best of what was experienced here. Yeah. So as we make our way towards the end of the month, we have a new moon coming in the sign of Cancer on the 28th. That's the same day that Neptune goes retrograde. You have the 9 of Swords, and you know, there is an awful lot of like sensitive energy that gets activated here. And what is this about? Well, there's an activation of some of the worst case scenario going on for you. And I think, again, it's just about the, I think there's a doubt that you've got it right. I think what's going to happen is that you're going to be all like here, there, and all over the place. There's so many shifts and changes happening on your part, on other people's this month, and the agendas just feel like they're constantly getting like changed. And so you're in the midst of all that, you're trying to really anchor in and trust yourself, and you're making decisions and choices based on that, and they feel right in the moment, but because things are moving so quickly, you then start second guessing yourself. And so there's a situation coming in toward the end of the month where you're going to feel like you did the wrong thing, or you said the wrong thing, and it might kind of put you in a bit of a tailspin. I'm going to tell you it's not the case. It's just part of your ego self trying to gather up evidence of all of the times where you think you've screwed up in the past. And we never really screw up. It's always an experience, isn't it? Just to be learned from a soul level. So this is an opportunity to allow some emotional self-regulation to come in, and actually to sink deeper into what the soul is telling us, because the soul is coming through with a sense of calmness and balance. And I think that's one of the things that you should feel, in spite of the fact that you've got this anxiety and fear coming in. there's an awareness, like an acute awareness of it. Yeah, probably more than you've ever had before. Or here I am thinking this thought. And that beneath that, you feel more certain and secure than you have for some time. Now, again, that's the duality of this Gemini season, isn't it? It's like, how do I balance that out? You know, what do I do with that? You know, so we have to find ways to be able to continually self-regulate those emotions that are trying to distract us away from what's important, and at the same time sink more deeply into the practices and the truth and the knowing and the certainty that we have about the ways in which we have changed. And you have changed, and you have to believe that you've changed. Okay, so let's take a look and see how the oracle cards want to reflect your reading, Capricorn. Okay, details. Well, that's sixth house energy, isn't it? Even the most minutiae of things matters, you know. Hydrating yourself enough, like making sure that you go to bed in a time that gives you enough rest. Like, all these things feel like they're mundane or boring, but in all honesty, they're the things that fuel you and keep you going. Now, the magnifier here is showing the word clarity. So there's clarification that's also coming because of your awareness and your desire to want to notice, to observe, to be the witness, and most importantly this month, Capricorn, of yourself, of the thoughts that you're thinking, the decisions you're about to make, the responses that you feel triggered to make, and then actually what you end up doing. And then the celebration of the fact that you were able to make a better choice than you would have done last week, last month, in the last year. Okay, so that's really important. I think as well, like obviously during retrograde, lots of things can get lost or missing, and you have a sense as we sort of come out the other side of that, that there may be some things that come to light that you missed previously, or that just didn't actually get to you by way of messages and communication. And again, don't allow that to be a source of frustration for you, because I feel like there's something that you may feel you've missed out on, because for whatever reason, you know, circumstances conspired that you didn't see it, or you weren't told about it, and you should have been. But it feels like there again will be a course correct, and don't be afraid to reach out. Like see if someone sent you a message and you didn't get it, and like there's a closing date, or it was like a date and like you think it's too late. Like I just feel like, do you know what, just pick up the phone, call direct, or go see somebody directly, and I think that you can turn that situation on its head. So nothing is lost here. So if that's an experience that comes up for you, just keep that in mind. Okay. All right, we will have a look at your astrology card for the month. We have the energy of Scorpio, investigate. So again, you know, Scorpio is very concerned with the details and the minutiae, and we've just come through that Scorpio full moon eclipse in May, so something we're still dealing with by way of the reverberations of that. But remember, Scorpio is also about rebirth and the transformational energy that's taking place for you right now. But what do we need to investigate? There's something that with the details we need to go into further. Somebody's background, maybe it's something you're interested in, something that's been said to you where you haven't been given all of the information. Take the time to do your due diligence and to do the research into something. It's going to make a massive difference, and it could help you avoid anything that you actually shouldn't be getting involved in or signing or agreeing to. Okay, that also feels important. Okay, Scorpio, I wanted to just give you a quick preview of my new deck, Life Soul Vision Oracle, which is available now for pre-order. We're going to have it with us by the end of July. Thank you so much to all of those of you who have already supported the Kickstarter and pre-orders. And I just wanted to give you a bit of a heads up, hopefully be able to do a full reading with this next month. So there's a really beautiful comprehensive guidebook with my deck where I talk about the description of the card. We're going to go into the card meaning. We talk about it in the light and in the shadow. And I'm also going to give you a soul affirmation for each guide as well. So if you're interested, you can find more details and see a full preview of the deck at the link that's in the comment and the description section underneath. Thanks so much. Okay, so we have a general reading for June. Let's go ahead and invite you to think about a personal question, Capricorn, that might not have come up in the main spread. Put some focus on that for me now, and we will pull a couple of cards for you. If you're new to the channel, you'll find the link for the extended reading in the comment section underneath. It's a way to support my channel, and you'll also receive another 25 minutes of insight for the month ahead. So thank you so much for those that support me if the reading is resonating with you this month. So 7 of Pentacles, let's just clarify this. We have the 5 of Pentacles coming in. We also have another 7 of Wands coming up for you. Now, all the decks that I use, Capricorn, are also listed, okay? You'll be able to find that in the description box. Okay, we have the energy of Judgment and the Queen of Cups coming in here. And the 7 of Cups. Okay, lots of 7s coming through this month. 5 of Wands. We have the Knight of Wands. 9 of Cups, lovely. Ace of Wands. Another Page of Wands. Magician. 3 of Swords. Another 2 of Cups here. Hanged Man. Page of Swords, that is, and the King of Swords. Chariot, beautiful. Knight of Pentacles. So 6 of Swords and the 10 of Wands, okay. Knight of Cups there. Hierophant. And the Ace of Swords. Okay, Capricorn, I'm going to leave it there. If you're joining me for the extended, I will see you there. Otherwise, you have a beautiful month ahead. Be sure to check back in and see how these messages continue to resonate for you through the month of June. I appreciate you showing up to the channel. Lots of love.